Actions speak louder than words when supersizing and growing our business. Teddy bears need hugs too. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom or expression today is actions speak louder than words. Now, we covered this yesterday in our annual challenge, the BU 365-day challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us. But I wanted to cover it today because it is such an important concept, not only in growing and supersizing our business, but in our life as well. Let's talk about briefly and really quickly some circumstances and situations where it's critical that actions speak louder than words. First, where did this idiom come from? Where is it? How long has it been in our lives? Because it's in all of our lives and every area and aspect of our life. At least it has been in mine. It's been around in writing since 1628. 1763, it appeared in, I can't remember what it was, but some big document, as well as Abraham Lincoln using it in his speech about the Civil War in 1836. So it's had some big boosts in credibility and popularity over the decades, over the centuries, thus its existence still today. What does it mean? It means what we do, actually do, take action on, is far more important than the things we say, meaning the things we say we're going to do, but we might not actually ever do. So where is this important? It's important in trust situations, building trust, having people understand and know that they can count on us for certain things. This is pretty important to business, isn't it? Goal achievement, when we set goals and objectives. Parenting, have you ever tried to tell your kids, do as I do, not as I say? If you smoke and you tell your kids they absolutely positively can't smoke, you're going to be in trouble. If you have tattoos and you tell your kids they can never have a tattoo or they can't get a tattoo till they're 18, guess what? You might be in trouble, but I guarantee at 18, they're going to get tattoos. One of my examples is my parents were against pierced ears forever. And by the time I was 18, I had kind of given up on it, but my best friend grabbed me on my 18th birthday and said, we are going to get your ears pierced. And we went and got my ears pierced. Although I had, pretty much forgotten about it by the, through high school. I was like, yeah, who cares? I'm over it. But my mom didn't have her ears pierced. And at the time, it was, a borderline behavior, like getting a tattoo. But those aren't even borderline. That's pretty mainstream these days as well. Hypocrisy in politics. Boy, have we seen any examples of that in the last couple of years with COVID and the pandemic and everything. When leadership is required. How many of us need to have leadership when we're growing and supersizing our business? All of us. Of course we do. Responding to crisis, building a business, you're bound to have stuff come up, things that go on. How we respond to crisis, our actions need to speak louder than our words. How you and your business responded to the COVID-19 pandemic, which was indeed a crisis for millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of businesses, as well as, hundreds of billions of people. How you responded to that, our actions needed to speak and need to continue to speak louder than our words. How we send messages and how we communicate, our actions need to speak louder than our words. We can communicate a message, but if we don't follow that message up with action, the message falls on deaf ears. Do that a couple of times. It's like the boy who cried wolf. That story, if you're not familiar with it, look it up. It's one we should all know. But if you make things an emergency over and over again and don't follow up on them, or they're not true, or they're found to not be true, you lose all credibility. We need to make sure our actions speak louder than words when we apologize, when we make a mistake, when we forgive other people, when somebody has a huge loss or a trauma, our actions need to speak louder than our words. Thus, hugging the teddy bear. I couldn't think of another example that was quicker and easier than that. Sometimes people just need a hug and they don't need you to say a thing. Motivating other people is another area where our actions need to speak louder than words. We need to set the example for other people. I don't know how many times I've said this in the last 5 years, but probably hundreds. We need to lead by example. So what are some other areas with respect to our business specifically that this becomes important? Setting big business goals, creating our business in the first place. We need to make sure that our actions speak louder than our words. We can have our vision and our purpose and our principles and everything documented. We can have our meetings with our team members or our board of directors, and we can set all these things up as a framework. But if we don't live by those things that we say are important to us, nobody else is going to believe them, and everything is going to cave in on us. Again, I think I said apologies. Whenever we make a mistake, one of the biggest mistakes businesses make, especially as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, is they F up. They make a really bad mistake. They make a statement that's outrageous, or someone in the organization makes a statement that's outrageous. They take a political side maybe, or they take a side on a stand that's important to some people, but not the vast majority of their customers, or they make a mistake and they send you the wrong product or something. We've all experienced that over the last couple of years with all of the online ordering and delivery and things. Companies make mistakes, right? They send us the wrong thing. And instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, let's make this right, they blame you. They blame the customer. Probably all of us have had an experience where a company has blamed us for something that was wrong that they don't believe us on. I had a huge incident of that with Ford Motor Company, and I will never buy another Ford. And I had been a Ford buyer for literally 4 decades up to that point, but I will never buy another Ford because they blamed me for a process error that they had and a mistake that they made. And I'm like, you blame the customer. That says a lot about you as a company, and it's not a good thing. It doesn't say a good thing about you as a company. So apologies. Respect for those you work with, yourself and other people, other businesses, the competition. You want to make sure your actions speak louder than your words. If you're trash in the competition, guess what? You can't get mad when they're trash talking you. The golden rule, that one, I've been talking about that hundreds of times in the last 5 years as well. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And don't just say and talk about it. Make sure you're actually backing it up with your actions and your behaviors. Mentorship, when you're building and supersizing your business, guess what? One of your major roles is supporting the people that you're bringing into your organization to help you grow and supersize your business. If you're not mentoring them, if you're not treating them and teaching them everything they need to know to be successful, if you're not focusing on their strengths, if you're not giving them feedback and letting them know what will help them grow the most, then you're struggling and your actions aren't necessarily matching your words. Oh, I'm going to mentor you, but then you never have time to work with them. Actions don't match your words, and people lose trust in you. People have to know what to expect from you all the time as the leader. Doesn't mean we're not ever going to behave in ways that aren't 100% consistent with the expectations, but overall, whenever you're a leader or a manager, people have to know what to expect from you. And if you're not sharing your expectations with them, and they're not sharing, and you're not asking them for their expectations of you, that's a missed opportunity. In teaching people things, again, we need to be teaching and setting up systems and processes and procedures that grow our business, but not only just setting them up, making them living, breathing things that change as things in our environment and in our business change. Accountability and responsibility. You are ultimately responsible and accountable for everything that happens in your business. I know that's a hard thing for a lot of people, a hard concept to grasp, but we are always responsible, and our actions need to speak louder than words. When it comes to that, when someone does something wrong and they are in our organization, we need to take responsibility for that. A lot of times we have insurance for that, right? Insurance or other things in case somebody does something wrong, we want to be protected and covered, but that's an action that we can take that speaks louder than our words, right? And then again, in arguments and listening. In listening, we need to make sure that we are doing active listening, really asking questions to understand and engaging people, not doing 20 other things while we're supposedly listening to somebody that's telling us something. Why? Number one, we're going to miss stuff. And if we miss things, then that leaves us in a vulnerable position as we're making decisions and choices based on the information that we're getting, right? And then what's the other one I said? Oh, arguments. When we, again, it's kind of like when we make a mistake or we do something wrong and we make an apology. Arguments are kind of the same thing. We need to treat people the way we want to be treated in those arguments and understand that our actions need to speak louder than words. If we are having an argument or a discussion or a disagreement, we need to make sure that we're following that up, just like an apology, just like making a mistake and taking responsibility and accountability for it. It's another place in our business. If we want to grow and supersize it, we have to be willing to set the example in how we behave, because that's how everyone else in our organization will behave. Everybody knows that when the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, only in an organization where that's what you do, right? I had some experiences with that in corporate America, and that's where I learned that lesson. Love to know your experience with actions speak louder than words. Is there an area in your business that you've seen this play out and be very important, or not play out and you need to shore it up? Share that in the comments below so we can learn from one another. And I will be with you again tomorrow with another spiritual well-being related idiom for this month. Have an awesome day.